The Reserve Bank says the decision to keep rates unchanged came on the back of global uncertainty, which called on it to take a more cautious approach to policy. The central bank noted that higher trade tariff measures being levied across a number of economies and retaliatory measures had created an unpredictable and uncertain macroeconomic environment. Local economic growth has been revised downwards to 1.7% this year due to subdued demand and possible supply chain disruptions. Reserve Bank Governor Isaah Mhlanga says inflation appears contained for now and it's expected to remain below the midpoint of the target bracket for this year at 3.6%. The proposed value-added tax increases announced in the budget are expected to add about 0.2 percentage points to headline inflation.
The MPC decided to keep the policy rate unchanged at 7.5%. 4 members preferred this action, while 2 favored a cut of 25 basis points. For several quarters, we have enjoyed rising confidence in South Africa with a smaller country risk premium and lower bond yields. However, the global economy is not on a stable footing, and there are also domestic uncertainties which put these favorable trends at risk. This calls for a cautious approach to policy.
One economist says because of the uncertainties in the global environment, it makes sense to keep rates unchanged.
The primary reason for them being worried about the potential upside, risk to inflation, which are the tariffs that are currently being imposed by the U.S. administration across many countries. And potentially, if you add the implications of the VAT, which was announced at the budget, all of those, they pose upside risks to inflation. But the global risks in particular, they are the ones that are difficult to assess. And if you have, an inflation that is benign, lower than, 4% for this year, but if you look through your forecasting horizon, you see some increase that goes towards your midpoint. With all these uncertainties, it makes sense to sit tight and try to assess the incoming policies and the implications on your inflation before you make a move.
Are expected to continue to bear the brunt of the higher cost of living, with the new higher VAT rate coming into effect in May and no inflation adjustments to tax brackets.
Be happy because according to them, interest rates are still on the higher bend, and I think in reality everyone is looking at their pockets, especially now with the announced VAT increase. So people are essentially, assuming that it's going to be tough times going forward because we have this VAT number coming in. There are certain things that he pointed and alluded to, which is better fuel price projections, an environment where potentially we do have a stronger dollar, but obviously those again are, it's again a coin toss, and you sort of need to balance that seesaw out. And I think in the consumer's bag, it does seem as though things do become a little bit more on the tighter side because you have no relief from a cutting perspective.
Economists say with inflation expected to remain contained, there are still possibilities of rate cuts later in the year. Gloria Sefakomosi, SABC News, Johannesburg.